Welcome back to the Shigeaki Podcast, where science and longevity come together to help you feel stronger, move better, and age with intention, one simple habit at a time. I'm Dr. Mark Hyman, and I'm joined as always by someone I deeply respect, my co-host mentor and dear friend, Dr. Shigeaki Hinohara. If you don't know Dr. Hinohara, yet you're in for a gift. He spent over 100 years studying how we age, and more importantly, how to age well.
Thank you, Mark. I'm grateful to be here with you and with all of our listeners who are choosing to grow older with more wisdom, not just more years.
Now let me ask you something. Have you ever opened your freezer thinking it's full of healthy, convenient food, but not realizing some of it might be slowly harming your heart, brain, or joints? That might sound dramatic, but I've seen it over and over. Take one of my recent patients. She's 68 lives alone and tries her best to eat clean. Most of her meals came from the freezer low-fat dinners, frozen soups, microwavable veggies. But despite eating light, she was bloated, constantly tired, and her blood pressure was rising. Her joints ached by midday.
I've seen the same, Mark. In Japan, we treat the freezer as a tool for preserving life, not just shelf life. We believe what we freeze must still carry warmth of nutrition, of balance, of intention. But too often frozen foods are cold in more than just temperature. They've lost their vitality.
That's exactly it. Not all frozen foods are bad. In fact, some can heal. But many of the popular frozen items, especially for seniors, are packed with sodium sugars, additives, and oils that fuel inflammation quietly over time.
And after 60, your body becomes more sensitive. The joints, the brain, even your gut, they respond more strongly to the food you eat. That's why what's in your freezer isn't just a convenience choice, it's a health decision.
So today we're going to make it simple. We'll break down the 4 worst frozen foods that could be silently harming you, and how to avoid or improve them. The 4 frozen foods that actually support healing, especially for your memory, digestion, and joints. And finally, when and how to eat them for maximum benefit without giving up ease or taste.
This isn't about restriction, it's about realignment. We're not saying throw away everything in your freezer. We're saying take a second look.
That's right. A smarter freezer can mean less pain, more energy, and better aging, all with just a few thoughtful swaps.
So if you're over 60 or care about someone who is, this episode is for you. You deserve more than just easy food. You deserve food that keeps your body working with you, not against you.
And if you find this helpful, don't forget to like this episode, subscribe to the Shigeaki Podcast, and share it with someone you love. Because sometimes the smallest shift, like what you reach for in your freezer, can shape the way you age for years to come. Let's dive right into it. We're starting with the first 2 frozen foods that are doing more harm than good, especially for people over 60. The first one might sound familiar, and maybe even comforting. Frozen fried foods, chicken nuggets, fish sticks, French fries.
Yes, these are popular, especially with grandchildren visiting. They're crispy, salty, quick to prepare, but unfortunately not kind to the aging body.
Exactly. The biggest problem here is the oil. When food is deep fried and then frozen, the oils used become oxidized. That means they've been damaged by heat, air, and time. When we reheat those frozen fried foods, especially in the microwave or in hot oil, again we reactivate those damaged fats. And oxidized oils are pro-inflammatory. They increase free radicals in the body, which stress the joints, clog arteries, and can even dull brain function over time.
In Japan, we have a saying, heat gives life, but reheated oil takes it away. Our elders know this instinctively. We avoid frozen foods that have already been fried once. They are considered dead foods, low in vitality, hard to digest.
And the science backs that up. Studies have shown a strong link between frequent consumption of fried frozen foods and increased joint stiffness, poor blood sugar control, higher markers of inflammation like CRP, even increased risk of heart disease.
And the sad part is many seniors think these foods are easy, especially when appetite is low. But ease should never replace nourishment.
Now, if you have to eat them, maybe during travel or family meals, there are ways to reduce the harm. Here's what I suggest. Bake instead of frying or microwaving. Baking avoids further oxidizing the oils. Eat them with bitter greens like arugula, dandelion, or even steamed kale. These support liver detox. Pair with miso soup or fermented vegetables to help with digestion and reduce the inflammatory load.
Beautiful suggestions. Even a small bowl of miso with its fermented strength can help the body recover from an oily meal.
All right, let's move on to the second frozen food to avoid: frozen breakfast sandwiches and frozen burritos.
Yes, they promise energy and convenience, but often bring the opposite.
Exactly. These products are usually loaded with refined white flour that spikes your blood sugar, low-quality processed meats like frozen sausage or ham, artificial cheese often made with fillers and preservatives, and don't forget sodium. Some of these items contain over 1,000 milligrams of salt in just one serving. That's almost an entire day's worth of sodium before you've even had your second cup of coffee.
And when you combine salt with processed meats, you put a great deal of pressure on your kidneys and blood vessels. It may not show up as pain right away, but over time it weakens circulation and increases risk for stroke.
The body becomes more salt sensitive with age. So foods like frozen burritos or breakfast croissants can drive up blood pressure in a way they didn't 20 years ago. And when those blood vessels tighten, your joints feel it too. Less oxygen, less nutrient flow, slower recovery. That's so important. And while these frozen meals may look like a complete breakfast, they're often missing the very nutrients older adults need: fiber, healthy fats, real protein your body can recognize and use.
And I must say this gently but directly, a frozen egg is not a real egg. It may have the shape, it may have the color, but it has lost its inner energy. In Japan, we consider the freshness of an egg part of its healing potential.
So, what can you do if you like the idea of a warm handheld breakfast? Here are some better options. Make your own egg sandwich with pasture-raised eggs, whole grain bread, and avocado. Then freeze it yourself. Choose frozen breakfast items with fewer than 400 milligrams sodium, whole ingredients and no added sugars. Balance with greens or berries to slow digestion and support metabolism.
And they give you a blood sugar spike followed by a crash. That crash brings fatigue, irritability, and even joint inflammation in some people.
So, to recap this section, avoid frozen fried foods or at least bake and pair wisely. Be cautious with frozen breakfast sandwiches and burritos. They're often salt bombs with hidden sugars. If you must eat them, support your liver and digestion with greens, fiber, and fermented foods.
Yes, even just adding a few fresh elements to a frozen meal can shift how your body receives it.
All right, we've already talked about fried frozen foods and frozen breakfast sandwiches. Let's move on to number 3 on our list: frozen pizza.
The goal is not perfection, but protection. Make the freezer your friend, not your trap.
And there's a good reason for that. Most frozen pizzas are made with refined white flour, cheap oils, and processed meats. When you combine that with loads of salt and preservatives, it becomes the perfect storm for inflammation.
Pizza. In Japan, it's a rare treat. And if you ever do see it, it's fresh made to order and shared slowly. Frozen pizza, though, that's something we almost never eat.
And here's something people don't talk about enough. I call it frozen fog. That's the mental fatigue some people feel after eating frozen meals, especially things like pizza. You feel sluggish, unfocused, maybe even a little sad. It's not just in your head. That blood sugar spike and inflammatory load affects your brain too.
Yes, it may look like comfort food, but it doesn't comfort your body. It overloads your gut, stresses your blood vessels, and gives very little nutrition in return.
Now, we're not saying you have to give up pizza forever, but here's how you can crave wisely. Choose a cauliflower crust or whole grain base. Add fresh vegetables, lean protein, and a sprinkle of goat cheese or olive oil, and make it at home so you control the ingredients.
That's true. After 60, digestion slows, and our nervous system becomes more sensitive. Heavy frozen meals can cause both mental and physical heaviness.
All right, let's talk about the last and maybe most tempting category: sweet frozen desserts. Ice cream, frozen pies, even processed mochi with syrup fillings.
Even better, eat it slowly with gratitude. Let pizza be a joyful experience, not a frozen habit.
Exactly. These desserts usually contain high amounts of refined sugar dairy that can be inflammatory for older adults, and emulsifiers and gums that disrupt the gut microbiome. That combination leads to more than just weight gain. It can cause joint pain, bloating, brain fog, and even immune system imbalance.
Yes, sweet, creamy, cold, it's comforting, but in the long run it can be very unkind to your joints and your gut.
And if you still want something cold and creamy, here's a great alternative. Freeze a ripe banana, blend it with a bit of matcha powder and chia seeds. You get a soft serve texture that's naturally sweet, rich in antioxidants and gentle on your joints.
In Japan, we take a different approach. Instead of large scoops of ice cream or frozen cakes, elders might enjoy a few frozen grapes or a spoon of red bean paste, naturally sweet but gentle. Sweetness should refresh the body, not burden it.
So, let's take a moment to recap the 4 frozen foods we've covered so far. Frozen fried foods full of oxidized oils and inflammation, frozen breakfast sandwiches and burritos, salty, heavy, and blood sugar, spiking frozen pizzas, refined carbs and chemicals in disguise, sweet frozen desserts, sugar bombs that disrupt gut health and fuel pain.
Yes, that kind of dessert satisfies without stealing energy, and the matcha gives you a lift in focus rather than a crash.
It's all about intention. If you swap with care, even your freezer can become a healing place.
But remember, we're not here to scare you. We're here to show you that comfort and healing can go together. These 4 frozen foods may drain your body, but with the right swaps, you don't have to give up joy.
Stay with us. Your joints, your mind, and your energy will thank you. Now that we've covered the frozen foods to watch out for, let's switch gears. There are frozen foods that do the opposite. They nourish, protect, and even heal. And the first one is a personal favorite of mine, frozen berries.
Coming up next, we'll flip the script and explore the 4 frozen foods that actually support longevity. They're easy to find and even easier to enjoy.
Exactly. Frozen berries, especially blueberries, raspberries, and blackberries, are packed with compounds called anthocyanins. These are natural pigments that give berries their rich colors, and they also protect your brain, your heart, and your cells from oxidative stress.
Yes, in Japan we say small fruits, long life, because the tiniest fruits often carry the most powerful medicine.
Yes, they lower inflammation, support blood vessel health, and have even been linked to better cognitive function. One study showed that older adults who ate blueberries regularly had improvements in memory and attention, even after just 12 weeks.
And that's especially important after 60. Oxidative stress builds up over the years through pollution, stress, poor diet, and it affects memory, focus, and recovery from inflammation. Berries are gentle warriors that help clean that up.
I recommend enjoying them in the morning, added to a smoothie, or stirred into oatmeal with Greek yogurt and flax seeds. That gives you a balanced meal with antioxidants, protein, fiber, and healthy fats.
And frozen berries are just as powerful as fresh. In fact, they're often fresher because they're frozen within hours of being picked.
So simple, so powerful. Let's move to our second frozen food to eat daily, one that's especially important for bones, joints, and energy, frozen edamame.
I also enjoy berries in the afternoon with a warm cup of green tea. The combination is calming, nourishing, and helps prevent energy crashes later in the day.
That's so important, especially for older women after menopause. Isoflavones in edamame can help protect bones by acting like natural estrogen in the body, without the side effects of synthetic hormones.
Yes, edamame or young green soybeans are a gift from nature. They are high in plant-based protein, gentle on digestion, and contain isoflavones, which are known to support hormonal balance.
I love that idea. It's a great alternative to salty crackers or chips. Edamame gives you fiber, protein, and nutrients without blood sugar spikes.
And the protein in edamame is clean and complete. It provides all 9 essential amino acids. We often steam it with sea salt and serve it warm in the afternoon as a brain snack. or a gentle way to recharge.
If you want to level it up, here's a simple serving idea. Steam the edamame, sprinkle with toasted sesame seeds. Add a squeeze of lemon juice. That touch of sesame adds calcium and antioxidants. The lemon brightens the flavor and supports digestion.
We also add edamame to soups or stir-fries for dinner. It becomes the protein base of the meal, not just a side dish.
To recap so far, frozen berries help protect. Memory reduce joint damage and calm oxidative stress. Frozen edamame supports bone strength, stable energy, and healthy aging hormones.
And don't forget, frozen edamame is incredibly convenient. No soaking, no prep. Just steam or boil for a few minutes, and it's ready.
So far, we've covered frozen berries and edamame, two fantastic freezer staples that support memory, bones, and energy. Let's move to number 3 on our list, frozen spinach or kale.
And they're not exotic. You can find both in most grocery store freezers, and they're affordable, delicious, and easy to use.
That's such a beautiful image, and it's spot on. Spinach and kale are nutrient-dense, meaning you get a high amount of nutrition in very few calories. And the frozen version, pre-washed, pre-chopped, and ready to use.
Yes, frozen leafy greens are a quiet treasure. They may not look exciting, but they are among the most healing foods in your freezer. In Japan, we say leafy greens are the blanket for the gut. They wrap the digestive system in fiber, minerals, and warmth.
Spinach and kale are especially rich in vitamin K, which supports bone health and prevents calcification in blood vessels, magnesium, which helps with muscle relaxation and nerve balance, and fiber, which feeds good gut bacteria and keeps the bowels moving gently.
Yes, it removes barriers. No trimming, no spoilage. Just open the bag and drop it into whatever you're cooking.
The best way to use frozen greens, stir them into lunch. A warm vegetable soup congee, or even a bean stew. Just toss in a handful of frozen spinach or kale near the end.
And fiber is so often missing from modern diets, especially among older adults. Without it, digestion slows, inflammation rises, and the body becomes more sluggish.
Absolutely. It's an easy way to turn a plain meal into something deeply nourishing. All right, our final food for today is a big one, and one I wish more people over 60 were eating weekly frozen wild salmon or mackerel fillets.
And don't forget the flavor boosters. Try sautéing them with garlic, ginger, and a touch of olive oil before adding to a dish. This not only brings out the flavor, but increases the absorption of fat-soluble vitamins like K and A.
Yes, wild salmon and mackerel are some of the richest sources of omega-3 fatty acids, particularly EPA and DHA. These fats are known to lower inflammation, improve brain clarity and mood, reduce joint pain, and even support heart rhythm and blood pressure.
Fish. In Japan, we freeze what we cannot fish but cook it with care. Fish is medicine for the aging body. It supports the heart, the brain, and the joints all at once.
The beauty of frozen wild fish is that it's accessible. Fresh fish isn't always an option, especially inland, but frozen wild salmon or mackerel sealed properly keeps its nutrients and texture beautifully.
And these benefits are not just long-term, they are felt. I've seen older adults feel more mentally alert, more emotionally stable, and even sleep better when omega-3 intake is consistent.
Yes, I often recommend serving it with steamed daikon radish and a bowl of miso soup. That combination supports digestion, balances salt intake, and feels incredibly grounding.
The key is in the preparation. Grill gently, don't drown it in sauces. Let the flavor of the fish shine and serve it with balance.
Let's recap the final 2 healing frozen foods. Frozen spinach or kale, rich in vitamin K, magnesium, and fiber to support gut health and reduce inflammation. Frozen wild salmon or mackerel packed with anti-inflammatory omega-3s for brain, heart, and joint protection.
And frequency matters. 2 or 3 dinners per week is enough to keep omega-3 levels steady and your joints happier.
That's such a good reminder. A smart freezer isn't just about saving time, it's about adding life. These four foods, berries, edamame, greens, and fish, can quietly transform your energy, your joints, and your aging journey.
And remember, frozen does not mean fake. If chosen with care, frozen foods are nature's pause button. They hold on to their healing power until you're ready to use it.
So now that we know the right frozen foods to keep in your kitchen, the next question is simple. How do you use them wisely without overthinking it?
And coming up next, we'll talk about how to combine these healing foods into your week for maximum benefit with minimum effort. Because knowing is good, but doing is better. Yes, one food is good. But when you create a rhythm morning, afternoon, evening, these foods begin to support each other and support you.
For an afternoon snack, steam a small bowl of edamame. Add sesame seeds and a squeeze of lemon. It's satisfying, protein-rich, and helps keep your blood sugar steady.
Or stir the berries into warm congee or oatmeal. It's gentle on digestion, especially for older adults.
One that supports your joints, your brain, your digestion. Just one or two of these foods a day can create quiet healing over time.
And don't forget dinner, the best time for wild salmon and frozen greens. Grill the fish, gently serve with sautéed spinach and garlic and olive oil, and maybe a bowl of miso soup.
If there's one thing we hope you take away from today, it's this: frozen food isn't the enemy. It's the intention behind it. What matters isn't just what's in your freezer, it's what you do with it.
And remember, frozen doesn't mean fake. When used with care, it can help you age with strength and ease.
So here's our gentle challenge for you this week. Just one small change. Look through your freezer. Remove one food from the worst list we shared. Maybe those fried nuggets, sugary desserts, or salty breakfast burritos. And replace it with one from the best list: berries, edamame, wild fish, or leafy greens.
Yes, Mark, frozen food can bring damage or it can bring healing. It can be a shortcut or it can be a strategy. Frozen can mean convenience or it can mean wisdom. The choice is yours.
Because sometimes the most meaningful healing doesn't come from a prescription. It comes from your own kitchen or even your own freezer.
Then simply observe. No pressure, no perfection. Just pay attention for 7 days. How does your body feel after meals? How does your energy hold through the afternoon? What about your digestion, your joints, your sleep?
If this episode helped you, please subscribe, and share it with someone you love. Because your freezer doesn't have to be full of leftovers, it can be full of longevity.
We age with the habits we repeat. Let today be the day one of those habits becomes a little wiser, a little gentler, a little more healing.
Let's start with breakfast. Try Greek yogurt with frozen blueberries, flax seeds, and oats. It's high in antioxidants, protein, and fiber, and it keeps you full and focused.